And then there was Charles Webdings, the pastor of the righteous 247 Church, who fell under the spell of Frankie Young. Webdings believed that men should control everything, and that women should not be able to vote or run a company. "I have complete dominion over my wife," he said. "When she orders a salad, I decide the amount of dressing she uses and the number of croutons." He lectured the men in his church about masculinity. Real men don't eat saltless crackers, take bubble baths, eat desserts with whipped cream, or own cats, especially the really fluffy kind. When a man in his congregation discovered that Webdings' favorite color was pink, Webdings paid the man $500 to keep it quiet. "If word gets out that I like the color pink," he said, "it could ruin my reputation forever." Webdings had 3,000 flyers printed up promoting Young for mayor, and drove around the city to pass them out. "At last we'll have a real man in charge of our city," he said. "Men can have full dominance once again. Women and children can just be the second-class citizens that they were meant to be." Frankie Young easily won the primary and would now go head-to-head with Mayor Bennington. It would become one of the most talked about and baffling mayoral races in American history.
It's human nature. We like who we like and hate who we hate. If someone you like is accused of a crime, then, of course, it was a setup. He's an innocent victim of a corrupt system. But if someone you don't like is accused of a crime, then he's automatically guilty and should be sent straight to prison. You must make your voters like you all the way. You must make them hate your opponent all the way. No gray areas. Life is cut and dry. Remember, you are never wrong, and your opponent is never right.
I am Frankie Young, and I am determined to become the next mayor of this great city. Mayor Bennington never bothered to fix the potholes on Green Street, so he obviously is against you having a smooth ride to work. The mayor never put in a stop sign at Darling Street and Diana Way, so obviously he could care less about your safety. And at the Friday night's farmers market, the permits were so high, the Remington Ice Cream Company no longer sends their cart to the market. Every Friday night, the good people of this city used to enjoy the best frozen chocolate-covered banana on a stick in the world. But now, because of our corrupt mayor, the good people of this city have to suffer.
At first, the mayor saw Frankie Young as kind of a nuisance, I would guess. The mayor was certain that he was going to win re-election. But then all these ministers and churches and organizations began backing Frankie Young with tremendous zeal. People said, "Frankie Young will clean up the city." And the mayor said, "Clean up the city? He's one of the people who dirtied it up."
The mayor thought he had the race in the bag, at least in the early stages. But then he watched Frankie Young's popularity with Christians grow, and he was puzzled. The city was full of preachers who had spent decades shaming people over alcohol, unmarried sex, and living a loose moral lifestyle. And now they were encouraging their congregations to vote for a man who was into alcohol, unmarried sex, and lived a loose moral lifestyle.
Propaganda in the air, everywhere I go. The government's always right, or don't you know? They got their spin doctors and their clever schemes, making sure we all believe their fantastic themes. I love my government. It's a magnificent sight. They tell me what to do and what is wrong or right. The propaganda ministry, oh, they do it so well. They make me feel like I'm under their magic spell.
The mayor became more desperate as Frankie Young rose in the polls, and he thought, well, maybe if we catch Young doing something unforgivable, something that would bring his followers to their senses.
So the mayor hired these two men to follow Young around. The mayor said, Frankie Young is a seedy man who lives an earthy lifestyle. They're bound to find something.
And oh, they did. The mayor's men witnessed Frankie Young visiting a strip club known as the Off-Purple Palace. Mayor Bennington was ecstatic. This will finish that brash bum off for good.
They not only saw Frankie Young go into the Off-Purple Palace, they snapped a photograph of him walking out. And this photograph was given to the Kahn City Gazette. And this was, of course, front-page news. And Young's campaign people thought they were finished. They asked, how are we going to get out of this one?
So let's say you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. Do you break down and admit that you were caught red-handed? Do you admit what you did was wrong? Apologize and then promise not to do it again? Of course not. Scramble your way out of it. You must learn to come up with lies quickly. If you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar, just say you saw a fly in the jar and opened the lid to set it free. I know it's a flimsy excuse, but if the voters love you, they'll be stupid enough to believe it.
It has been recently reported that I was at the Off-Purple Palace. Well, I don't want to lie to the people of this great city. I was at the establishment, but not as a guest. I was there to tell the owners that if I am elected mayor, I plan to close their establishment down. The Off-Purple Palace is an immoral institution. God's blessing is certainly not on an establishment such as this. I am God's vessel to clean this city up. I will close down the Off-Purple Palace, while your mayor has allowed this terrible house of sin to last for years.
Young's followers believed every word he said and stuck with him. The president of the Holier Than Thou organization said, I've been trying to get the Off-Purple Palace closed down for years. Frankie Young will finally be the man to do it. A wholesome man we can all look up to. And Jimmy the Pot Stirrer, a popular radio host and Young enthusiast, believed it too, and said so in an interview with the mayor.
This is Jimmy the Pot Stirrer, and welcome to the program. This is the show where we cut through the malarkey to get to the truth. Our guest is the Kahn City Mayor, Richard Bennington. Mayor, it looks like Frankie Young is on his way to dethroning you. Any thoughts?
This man, Frankie Young, has no moral compass. He is obviously a heretic, and I want the good people of this city to know it.
Well, you know, Mayor, his popularity is growing every day.
I can't imagine why. The man was caught at a strip joint.
But, Mayor, that was explained. He wants to close down the Off-Purple Palace. That's why he was there.
You believe that?
Of course I do. Frankie Young is a man of integrity. He is a strong, God-fearing Christian.
A man of integrity? Don't you realize that this
No
man...
offense, Mayor, but this city's moral level has been dropping.
Should you compliment your opponent in any way? You know, to show that you are human, down to earth, can work well with others. Never! Are you nuts? Never give your opponent a compliment. being gracious is for mama's boys and runner-ups. You must paint him out to be wrong about everything. Not just now, but throughout his entire life. I know that sounds heartless, childish, unfair. Too bad. This is the real world. This is how the game is played.
Do you want to see Kahn City become the greatest city in not only California, but the entire world? Are you tired of the filth in our river, the crumbling of our bridge, the traffic at rush hour? Vote Frankie Young for mayor, because Mayor Bennington just can't get anything right. Mayor Bennington has been a failure his whole life. He got a C- in reading in the 2nd grade. He was chosen last on the kickball team in 7th grade. And in high school, he couldn't even get a date for the senior prom. Don't let a failure run our great city. Vote Frankie Young for mayor.